What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of What Is Podcast, the show where every week 3 best friends and you come together to talk games, shows, movies, and tech. I'm one of your hosts, Patrick Jovez. Alongside me, I have everyone's best friend, Brian Rohr.
How's everyone doing today?
What's up, man? How's your week? I know we had like a week off, unbeknownst to everyone else, because of Ryan primarily.
Yeah,
my bad.
Good. Yeah, we hung out recently. Yeah, we went and we saw but we ended up getting together and seeing that first Neon Genesis Evangelion film, which we've been meaning.
Oh, you're talking about me and you. Yeah.
I was gonna say last time we all hung out
Ryan
together was to see
there.
the Wrestle or WWE
Very
Royal
own
Rumble.
Rockstar, Ryan McGeary.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even forget about that. Yeah, we watched it.
You didn't forget about that, or you did?
I did.
You done messed up, son. Of course, yeah, we had a week off due to... Ryan, you're fired, Ryan. Messing everything up. Now I have to edit that out. Oh my god, you can't
Twice in a row.
You can't even hold
like,
this
talk to
phone
the
straight.
hand.
Go home, you're drunk. But yeah, this is a wonderful start to the show, by the way. So yeah, we had a week off. We had to figure a couple things out, like trying to get the audio version of this, which I might add, I created a online profile for us on podomatic.com.
Awesome.
It seems like you could just upload it right then and there, so hopefully this will be like the first episode that's up and running, and they give us a certain amount of storage to upload the rest of the shows. So yeah, hopefully that's going to work out. I'm going to give a couple quick shout outs. First shout out goes up to one of my coworkers, Diane, for letting us borrow the Evangelion movies. I know Brian briefly mentioned, but we watched it.
Yeah.
And
great.
I had no idea what I was watching, but it was very pretty. Second shout out is I'm doing this because I have to, because this guy at my work is just pestering me. Shout out to Omar. There you go. And yeah, it's good to be back, guys. You guys ready for a good show?
Yeah, I definitely am.
No? Did Ryan freeze?
No, I said
No, he
said
He's
yes.
just not interested.
You're fired. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, let's start the show with our first segment that we like to call Game Time.
Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Thanks for messing up the silence.
You can cut
Great
this out.
show. Great show, everyone. That's it. This
all we
has
got.
been episode 4 of What Is Podcast. All right, guys. So, on Game Time, we're going to start off the new month with your free PlayStation Plus and Xbox One Games with Gold lineup. For PlayStation, we have Little Big Planet 3 and Not a Hero for PS4. Of course, Little Big Planet 3, huge game by Media Molecule.
Of course.
It's probably one of the biggest games we had recently. The last big game I can remember is probably NBA 2K16.
Yeah, we haven't seen a really big kind of like first party title on the games, or I guess PlayStation Plus titles that we've been getting for the last couple of months.
Yeah.
A lot of indie stuff.
Yeah.
So this is nice.
And speaking of indie stuff, Not a Hero for PS4. I believe it's indie. I think I remember seeing it in like a sizzle reel for indie games a couple like E3s ago, but I remember wanting to get that, so that's cool. PS3, you can get Star Wars and Anna, the extended edition.
Ooh, I like that psychological horror.
Yep. And for PS Vita, also with cross-buy with PS4, you get Ninja Senki DX and Torque L. What are these? Torque L?
Yeah, it's actually no, I don't know. I remember I think it was Torque L is kind of like
Twerk L.
Torque L, yeah. I think it was like a Japanese title.
Okay. That's cool. For all you Japanese nerds out there.
It may not even be, so I apologize if I'm wrong.
Oh, well, whatever. Xbox One and 360. So for Xbox One, we get Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time and Project Cars Digital Edition. That comes out February 16th to March 15th, so you got quite some time. And for 360, you got Monkey Island 2 Special Edition, comes out February 15th. And February 18th till the 28th, you can get your hands on Star Wars The Force Unleashed. All right. before we start with our main topic, did you guys see the new Avengers teaser trailer?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That looked... Well, there's nothing to like really pick from it other than it's gorgeous and the fact that it's being made by Crystal Dynamics, the people who made Rise of the Tomb Raiders, and Eidos Montreal, the guys behind Deus Ex Mankind Divided.
Yeah.
With just that being said, you already know it has some sort of hype around it.
I mean, I'm assuming what we saw was kind of like a what do you call it, computer generated cutscene. But if that goes to be anything near what it looks like, I think we're in for a real treat. It's exciting. I mean, we have an amazing Marvel Cinematic Universe. So now that we have a Marvel game universe coming up, because it's going to be multiple.
Well, we do.
Games.
We have a Marvel game universe again, kind of.
Oh right, yes.
Well, because the whole thing with Disney owning the rights to Marvel and with the shutdown of was it Disney Infinity, we finally got to get the licenses back out to I don't want to say real game developers, but people who have been developing games for a longer time than Disney.
Sure.
And making more high quality games, AAA titles and stuff like that. So it's nice to have the licenses back out so we could finally see different types of games. And just like I said, with these two developers, I can't wait to see like an actual trailer with gameplay and know what this is about, because like just the teaser got me super excited.
Do we know the release date? Is it 2018?
I don't know. All I know is at the end of the trailer, just hashtag reassemble.
Yeah, reassemble. They kept bringing that same word in multiple times.
Yeah. But, yeah, that looked pretty interesting. You saw it, right, Ryan?
Yeah, it looked pretty interesting. It wasn't really enough for me to go off of to like, I think that was on purpose. That I'm not sure they have a lot to show right now. And it's just a kind of a
So you're saying this isn't your game of the year already?
What was that?
So you're saying this isn't your game of the year?
Absolutely. Absolutely not.
Okay, you got to there for a second.
I'm excited that, who's working on it. I think it's going to have a lot of potential. There's so much there. My initial thought when I see Square Enix and Avengers is like a reskinned Kingdom Hearts with Avengers style gameplay, or like Kingdom Hearts style gameplay with reskinned Avengers characters. And that excites me, actually. I know that sounds kind of like a cop-out, but the idea of that actually sounds really cool, and I'd be pretty into that, honestly. So if that's the route they go, absolutely gonna check that out. But for right now, I'm waiting for a little bit more details to kind of get me excited. I think it's a cool mashup, though, like just to see those two names next to each other.
Yeah, definitely. Only available for Nintendo Switch.
Oh, don't do this to me.
Oh my god, if that was true. So anyways, that's all I got for news. Trying to keep it a little brief, but my topic for game time: if you could bring back one game or series, what would it be, and what do you think it'd look like? So, pass this one off to you, Brian.
Oh, there's so many good choices. I think I'm gonna have to go with one that I think would make a few of my friends happy and me very happy. Mega Man Battle Network.
Well, you just see Larry. Oh, what?
No, close. Yeah, it'd have to be the Battle Network series for the Mega Man franchise when Capcom was still doing it. And I would want Capcom to take the helm, of course. I'd want them to do everything from publish and developing the game. I think it was so amazing as this kind of like, tactical RPG game. And they used kind of like a 2D side top-down view, I guess, if you guys have ever seen what it looked like. Because it was limited to the Game Boy Advance. I
think it was 3x3 squares.
Yeah,
on each side.
And you had battle chips that you used almost kind of like a deck of cards. They were all like, different attacks, and you could combine them to make, different combinations. And there was like a lot of depth that went into it. You had all these kinds of ways to customize your character. There was different styles. Your guy could look different. Your Mega Man character could look different.
Mega Man.
But it was a great series, and they had 6 titles. I think 5 of them, actually there was more, but the 5 numbered titles were on the GBA, and I think the 5th one was on the DS.
That's like one of those games where if you are not familiar with the gameplay, you have no idea what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Because Yeah, I came over to Brian's house before, and they all of a sudden had like this revival of Battle Network with one of our friends, John. And I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. It looks like, I can't tell if this is in real time or there's like, they pre-rendered the moves, or I have no idea what's going on.
It was all cutscenes.
Yeah, so I honestly don't know what the hell I was looking at. But yeah, I mean, that sounds like a good pick. What about you, Ryan?
I gotta say, and this was just kind of a gut reaction. I didn't think about this too much, but Jak and Daxter. I think that would be a really cool IP to bring back. I think because it was kind of, it was the first kind of, I hesitate to call it a platformer, but it definitely is. It was the first platformer to kind of have like an open world kind of feel to it, as far as that I experienced personally, that I was really into. And obviously Naughty Dog is a great developer, and it just, I would say the very first video game that I ever loved was Crash Bandicoot, and Jak and Daxter just like totally reminded me of Crash Bandicoot as far as the platforming, and then obviously the kind of furry, lovable dog character.
We love the furries. Furry. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love.
That's what you mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
no,
my
that's
bad.
next week's episode. We're gonna talk about that.
That's our exclusive episode.
Yeah.
for adult ears.
Yeah.
Only.
No, I just feel like with the technology that we have today, that could be a really cool franchise to bring back, as far as like really creating big, expansive, beautiful worlds. And I think it would just be absolutely ridiculously gorgeous to have a game like that. But I also think there's not that many. I haven't played a good platformer in a while, so my knee-jerk reaction.
You missed out on that Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, well, fair enough, but like, there's something nostalgic about Jak and Daxter to me. But of course, Ratchet and Clank is nostalgic for me as well. But
no, I mean,
think that'd be a really
did you
cool
know
IP.
that they made a Ratchet and Clank? Was it last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't get
Tail end of last year.
I didn't get a chance to play it, but I know that it existed.
Yeah,
Keep in mind, I've only had my PleStation for 3 months, 2 months.
Yeah, he's not an actual gamer. So, but I noticed you mentioned Naughty Dog, them of course being the developer of Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter. Would you want Naughty Dog to helm another Jak and Daxter?
I don't think that they have the time. I don't.
Fair enough.
I don't think it's their best use of their energy. I think.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
I think this is just me being, just not worrying about logistics. I would love for that to be revived. I don't think it's practical. Although I suppose if you were gonna try to frame it in a way that is doable, maybe they could find like a 343 type studios to kind of bring it back in their own way and kind of do a love letter like Halo 4, 5, and 6 did with 343 to Bungie.
Yeah, I think for a platformer, I'd definitely pick like Retro Studios. They did they did Donkey Kong Country Returns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that just shows, and I like Donkey Kong Country was one of my favorite games ever growing up, and Donkey Kong Country Returns was a return to form, no pun intended, but yeah, like I loved that game. Yeah, I mean, I initially came up with this topic because in the past couple of years we've seen like a revival of old IPs, and some of the biggest games from 2016, or like one of the biggest games from 2016 was like a revival of Doom.
It's good.
So like, and also, yeah, Ratchet and Clank. It was a remaster of the first game, first original game.
Yeah, it was like kind of like coming back and I guess doing it with kind of all the things they have at their disposal now in terms of visual.
Right, like it looks like a movie. And I know like games are games and movies are movies, but it's really cool to relive that nostalgia with like the tech that we have now. So,
although I gotta say, there's probably kind of, I don't want to call it an uncanny valley, but you see kind of like old school remakes of anthropomorphized characters like Crash Bandicoot, and it starts to get creepy a little bit. So I'm wondering if Jak and Daxter would fall
realistic.
like it's too realistic, and they're very clearly like
you talk
real.
You talk mess about Crash Bandicoot one more time. I'm turning this computer
I'm just
off.
saying. I'm just
Holding
saying.
him
No,
back.
but I'm super juiced for that remake as well.
Yeah, like
That-
the whole package,
I'm
right?
So juiced.
Yeah, like
especially with better what's it called? Like a better save system for the first one because
Oh,
that's like
God.
huge disappointment. Not disappointment, but like a huge fault in the first game. The second one is probably considered the best out of the trilogy. I like the second one a lot. The third one is really great with all the good stuff too. But so I was thinking about this question, and I have a couple in mind. One of them was gonna be the Max Payne series. I always talk to Brian and tell him, man, what they did with Rockstar in Max Payne 3,
Yeah.
because it's a Remedy game made by Remedy, partnered with Rockstar. Like, if they could just use the engine that they used for Max Payne 3 and then remake the first two games, that would be like my be all end all. I would play that game for the like end of time because I love Max Payne. I've said so many times how much I'm into like film noir, and like this game hits it right on the head.
Yeah.
And Remedy, they make games like every 5 years, but the fact that they like when they deliver, they tend to be really good games, decent at like its lowest point.
Alan Wake.
Yeah,
Loved it.
Alan Wake. I missed out on that one, but
Loved it.
I need to play that as well.
can you imagine an LA Noire remaster? Oh my god, that would be ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that would be like
Just like
wouldn't be
graphically.
that-
I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, graphically.
take
graphically, yeah.
don't change the gameplay at all. Just reskin it to make it look like, Final Fantasy. Maybe that's
get
too much to
Quantic
ask,
Dream
but
on that.
like
Yeah,
on those
Quantic
levels,
Dream.
graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, originally I wanted to put the first two Max Paynes, but I've recently overheard that Remedy rebought, or I guess since Rockstar owns the license now, I think they licensed it out and to Remedy, so Remedy may or may not be making another Max Payne.
Oh.
And like that just made my heart sink today. I was like, ah!
It's happening.
It was just awesome. So that one's off the list. One game I didn't even experience in like the original arcades or anything like that, but Sega's Space Harrier.
Yeah.
Has anyone?
Never
Do you guys
played.
even remember that game?
No, I didn't play it.
It's so basically I learned about it through Shenmue on the Dreamcast.
Mhm.
Shenmue, of course, is like open world game, real time.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to Yakuza nowadays would be like the closest parallel I could think of.
Mhm.
And so you go into arcade and you could play a whole bunch of Sega classics, and they had Space Harrier in there. I got so good at that game. It's basically it's third person view, but you're like running behind the guy, and it's fast paced action. Think Star Fox, where except for instead of a ship, it's like this blonde 80s guy in like tight denim jeans, just like running at dragons and shooting
What?
like mutant bats with this gigantic gun.
Sounds like heroin.
It's crazy, but I would like the people who did Den Nation and Alienation and
to run
Resogun.
that, to do that.
Yeah, was it Housemarque? Because their
Yes,
gameplay with just crazy fast paced action and a whole bunch of like enemies on screen, bullets coming at you. That's like I don't know. There's a soft spot in my heart for games like that. And also, just one more quick one. I'd like to bring the Fight Night series back. I know EA. I was super juiced when EA was talking about UFC, and they finally made the transition over to have UFC, and now UFC 2 came out. I love those games, but nothing captures the spirit of boxing or fighting like the Fight Night series.
Right.
You know, like boxing is a sweet science, and it shows just in every ounce of the mechanics of that game. And like, to me, that is a perfect transition into gameplay from a real life event. Whereas UFC, I don't doubt that the games are great, but there's like so many nuances when it comes to UFC and MMA fighting that you can't possibly map all those things to a controller.
Right.
So that was my what, 3
Yeah,
submissions?
why do you get 3?
Because I do all the editing,
Yeah,
I
you have to
do
handle the work.
everything, so I get 3.
Ryan, we
But yeah, let us know what you guys think. What games would you like to bring back, or game franchises? Put it in the comment section below. Before we go, what have you guys been playing?
Ryan?
I just beat Final Fantasy 15, and now I'm doing endgame stuff. And I know Patrick's right on the cusp of joining the, where you and I are, Brian.
Right on the cups.
But I'm not going to ruin it by talking about it too much. But I really enjoy. I'm enjoying the challenge of the endgame stuff. It's definitely
good.
It's definitely hard, and when it's not hard enough, I just go pick a mission 10 levels above my level, and then
you make it harder.
Yeah.
Story of my life. When it's not hard enough, you make it harder.
Works every time.
It feels so silly.
60% of the time?
Works 100% of the time.
Well, it feels so silly because you'll have like these really crazy big bosses that are only like leveled, 60 or something. I'm level 73 right now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'll just take them down with like one armature and like maybe a dawn hammer or something, like something super like easy. And then I'll face something really silly, that's a level like 80. That's like a normal, like, it's not even like a enemy that you consider difficult, and they're just like one hitting me like crazy, and I'm using like mega phoenixes left and right. I'm like, oh god, I had like 12 mega phoenixes and now I have like 5 because this stupid thing is like 10 levels above me. So that's, again, that was my own doing though, because I'm like, I'm bored, let's face a level 85 dungeon. Oh god, don't do it, kids.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be a game for me where once I beat the main story, because I'm so backed up with what I need to play and what I need to watch and all these other things and like adulting. I'm just, once I beat that game, I think I'm just gonna like move on to the next game, because I literally have like 8 other games. I need to play Telltale's Batman. I need to play Gears 4. Resident Evil came out.
Yep. Brian, can I borrow that?
Rocket League.
Yes.
Cool. You said it on record. You have to.
Yes. Oh, well, I could just delete this video after 2 hours.
No, he said it. He said it. He said it where? Prove it.
Yeah. But yeah, because of the week-long break, I've had enough time to actually fit some gaming in, and I did go through Final Fantasy. I'm literally at the end. I just need to find like an hour to play.
Have you gotten in? You're not in Insomnia yet, are you?
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
No, he's not.
But thanks for ruining that, jerk.
Yo, but
Not just kidding. I've been playing a lot of handheld games recently. I know I finally started up Monster Hunter Generations. Brian's been helping me with that and getting me ready for Monster Hunter Double Xuru.
Double Cross, but we haven't gotten a release date
is
for
it
the
Double
US
Cross?
yet.
Okay. Yeah, so he's getting me ready for that, trying to get my high rank armor in, and then once I get my high rank armor, I'm just gonna stop playing that. Pokemon Bank updated. So, like, when Pokemon came out, I was like, you know what? I'm not the type of player to play PvP. It takes too much time to, like, EV train everybody and do all that stuff. So, I prefer Pokemon for the quote-unquote story.
Experience, yeah.
The experience.
New game.
But yeah, I was like, you know what? $5 a year for Pokemon Bank. Why not? Transferred all my Pokemon over, and I started off Pokemon Sun with like my dream team, and like everyone has like their dream moves or like all their moves,
like the egg moves and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, this is awesome. Like, I'm gonna keep my Squirtle a Squirtle, but he already has like Surf or
Hydro
like,
Pump.
yeah, he has all these crazy things. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, it's been mobile gaming or handheld gaming. What about you, Brian?
Whole bunch of Resident Evil 7. I'm loving that game right now. I know it's like an 8-hour game. I'm at like 11 hours, and I'm sort of close to the end. Like, I'm like literally searching every nook and cranny of that game, and there's a couple complaints with it, but it pulls atmosphere off so well. And I have to say right here, I think Jack Baker is like one of the best like horror villains on a game in a long time.
Brother to Troy Baker.
Brother to Troy, the Troy Baker. He's what Ruvik should have been from The Evil Within, like a character where he's supposed to be always potentially out there, and he could pop up at any time. I feel like in Evil Within, Ruvik just had these like scripted moments where he'd pop up and it would just not be that special. But Jack Baker, I mean, he's constantly there, and you can try take him on, but it's just it does such a good job of like that's the element of the game that feels like one of those horror series where you're having to fight for your life and just run, because Resident Evil 7, what separates it from like
he's like stalking you, right?
He's looking for you constantly. And whereas, Outlast and, Amnesia, you have no way to fight back. That's where a lot of the fear comes from, because you literally need to run. Resident Evil 7, you have guns. But with Jack and some of the other Baker family residents, you can't really do much with them with guns. So it has that element from those games where you just run, and it's some of the best moments of the game.
I haven't played it yet, but doesn't Jack is the dad?
He's the father,
with the glasses?
That's correct.
Doesn't he looks so much like Walter White.
You know what?
From Breaking Bad.
Yeah, there's some photos you see of him in game on like nightstands and stuff, where you see him less zombified or whatever you call it.
I am the danger.
It's pretty. He's very, very. I see the resemblance, but yeah, phenomenal game. I'm really liking it.
Cool, ladies and gents. That's all we have for game time. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with our TV segment. What's on?
All right, everybody. So, welcome to What's On. So, as we all know, everyone has their own guilty pleasures. You all know what I mean. Things like Miley Cyrus,
furries,
Big Macs, furries. One of my favorites, the murder investigation porn. But just to name a few. But so for this week, I want to ask everybody today, what TV series or shows are you embarrassed to admit that you love? Patrick, let's start with you.
Oh, man. What am I embarrassed to love? I don't really get embarrassed, but I want to say probably one of my earliest, maybe guilty pleasures. As a kid, kids can be super mean. I liked the Powerpuff Girls growing up.
That was great.
For some reason, a lot of boys thought it was a girl show.
That's
totally wasn't a girl show.
Stupid.
It was a kid's show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was freaking awesome. But I guess one show that would be harder to show like normies would be Golden Boy. It's this anime.
Yeah.
Where do we start with this? I guess the premise is this guy.
How do I explain Golden Boy to someone who's never watched it before? Without sounding like a total weirdo.
Anyone know how to explain this?
Like,
help me out.
A 24-year-old freeder, some guy going job to job, is basically looking for work and always finds a job with gorgeous, beautiful, female, bosses. And he's basically comes off as a complete idiot. They think he's, this perv that just wants to be there and observe them and look at them, and he does. But
I know those.
I know. Oh, gosh, best line. But he slowly starts to, win them over, and it usually happens like a switch. Like, he's actually learning the entire time that he's at these jobs, and he'll do something amazing for them when they least expect it, and when they realize how amazing he is and they want him to come back, he's already moved on to the next job, and he's gone. Yeah,
it has that formula of this new guy, doesn't know anything he's doing, probably messes up whatever he's doing way more than helps out.
Yeah.
And at the most dire time of need for that company or for those specific people, he ends up, like Brian said, doing something amazing that kind of changes these. They're all female.
They're all women, yeah.
They're all female, yeah, women. It changes their mind into seeing how awesome this guy really is. And yeah, that is very weird.
It's very weird, but it's very sexual.
It's very sexual. It's hilarious. It's very perverted. Something you probably want to disclaim
Yeah.
before you show just anyone.
Golden Boy is the perfect match for what I think a lot of people call an alone show, like something that you kind of want to watch by yourself.
I don't know what that means,
like,
but I've already done it.
You know, like you're like making sure, like, you know, unless it's a really close friend, like it's not something you would watch on your phone on like BART or like, you know, in public. Like people would literally like they look over and see some weird shit. And
actually, I watch it on BART all the time.
God damn.
Just like right in front of people,
You,
right in front of kids.
You have a lot of confidence.
Just slow jerking it, right? No, but yeah, if you're interested, check it out. It's only 6 episodes. There is a manga or manga.
It's hard to recommend. I read through the entire thing.
Yeah,
Be careful.
Especially if you're not super into anime, but want to see something really quick, really funny, really perverse. Check it out. It's Golden Boy. What about you, Ryan?
You know, again, not really embarrassed by this, but definitely what would be considered kind of trashy TV, which I tend to avoid in general.
Guilty pleasure.
I would say my guilty pleasure is Hell's Kitchen. I freaking love that show. I really like cooking, and so watching like Gordon Ramsay, who's like this really amazing chef, deal with people who think they're all, you know, they're amazing, is just awesome. I mean, there's so many that you know the producers purposely get a bunch of people with big egos and put them in the way of Gordon Ramsay, and it's just so much fun watching him knock them down like he's freaking Godzilla in Tokyo, man. He's just like on a constant tirade and a constant, you know, just mission to knock your ego down a notch and to make sure that you are humbled in the kitchen. And it's just so entertaining, and you really don't even learn anything about cooking. I mean, there's so many like examples of him and, you know, visual content that he's done where you can learn a lot, but I don't watch that show to you know, to educate myself on cooking techniques really, but more so just to watch him just be a complete asshole.
Just blow out the lines
super
on some
entertaining.
people.
Yeah.
The steak is so rare. I heard it moo.
Oh my god!
Like
Is
all
that really-
those,
I believe
like
that would
all
be a
those
lie.
memes are just
Oh, God.
hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many compilation videos of him just being a, you know, Gordon Ramsay's best insults, blah blah blah. You know, he's just, and I feel like he's not that mean of a person. He's just,
He isn't. Like if you see the Junior Hell's Kitchen?
Yeah, I think that's actually a thing.
I don't know if it's called Hell's Kitchen, but it's like he works with kids, and he's totally the opposite. He's very I don't want to say charismatic, but like charming and
he
to kids.
yeah, he's you know,
charming.
he's trying to guide them, and he's you know,
yeah, he's actually
much-
trying to help, and it's all, you know, it's like more of a family show, whereas like you're like the Hell's Kitchen, he's straight up just yelling in people's faces.
And I didn't even start watching the show until last year, so I had about 9 seasons of content that I could just binge watch, and I was just like, yes,
That's hella funny.
yes. So it was a good and a bad month at the same time. I got through about 3 seasons and I was over it about that point, but it was funny, and it's, you know, you always sit there as the viewer kind of going like, how could he not know what that is, or how could he not know how to do that? I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
it's like watching it's just totally ripping on real chefs, even though I'm not a real chef at all. You know, I'm just like, wow, I wouldn't have done that. You know, it's just so much fun to watch him like rip into people and then like just elevate yourself in like the stupidest, crappiest way by like watching this like British dude rip into these random people. So, you know, it's total trash TV, and it's not really substantive, but it's fun. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
By the way, Patrick, I definitely
Brian?
watch Powerpuff Girls, so, you know, I got your back on that.
Dude,
all-
Powerpuff
we all
Girls
did.
is the best.
Yeah, dude, I watched
Mojo Jojo?
anything on Cartoon Network I watched. It didn't matter what it
It's all
was.
pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all really good.
I love the pilots to all those not old cartoons, but like cartoons where like you could tell the animation style is different and everything's a little bit lighter
Yeah.
colored.
That's right.
Like I think the pilot for Powerpuff Girls was with Fuzzy Lumpkins.
Fuzzy Lumpkins.
But
Best
yeah.
redneck, bear, pink.
Yeah, I don't know what
antenna
it is.
Thing. Yeah, it was cool.
What about you, Brian?
Yeah, I think it's definitely guilty pleasure. It's a little embarrassing. I mean, I definitely don't really watch it with friends. I don't think anyone I know really watches it. It'd be Supernatural.
Oh my god!
Perfect.
Oh my god! I remember.
I tried having you guys. What? I tried to.
I was very surprised when I saw you watching that. I was like, "Are you really watching this?"
Yeah, dude. I love it.
I mean, I've never watched a full episode of this, but it's like the CGI is so bad.
Dude, it's a CW. It's a CW show. Have you seen The Flash? Like, Flash is great, but the CG is just, you know, you live with it. Same thing with Supernatural. But it's one of those things. It's kind of like Ryan, you were saying with Hell's Kitchen. Like, having multiple seasons ready to binge watch makes for a great guilty pleasure. It's like one of those things where it's like you can just devote all this time to it and start getting into it. And I did that. Supernatural, I think they're like 250 episodes right now.
Whoa,
like 12
really?
seasons.
Jesus.
Yeah, all 40-something minutes long.
Is this an anime?
It feels like it. In length, at least. But, you know, they've been around for so long. And I think when I got into it maybe like 3 years ago, I think, you know, they had a good 6-7 seasons out already. And I got to start it. And it's interesting because the first season, like, starts pretty interesting, where it feels like this kind of cool, like, horror-ish, like, kind of very, tries to be scary and a little psychological with, like, the type of monsters they deal with. And they have some really cool ideas. But then it slowly turns into this, like, series that's, like, all about, you know, the bond in the character, you know, building between the two brothers, and there's, like, hell and angels and all these things, and it gets completely crazy. Most people just kind of give up on it. But it's, like, it's literally one of the most, like, angsty, like, campy, like, shows you can watch, but you just love it. I mean, and I can see how it's guilty pleasure for a lot of women because, you know, the two actors, Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki, you know, they're eye candy, I think, for most of them. And I think that's what makes it a great...
That's the only reason I turned it on.
That's the only reason I watched it. But it's just such a great show. Like, everybody kind of makes fun of the show, and they use that as, like, fuel. Like, they go meta all the time, and they'll do episodes where they literally did one where they were themselves as actors playing the roles of the characters. And it had some of the funniest lines.
What the heck?
It's like breaking fourth wall on all kinds of levels. It was crazy.
This sounds awesome.
But yeah, it's one of those shows.
How far do you have to get into to get to that?
Well,
episode?
remember last time you
far.
took our suggestion on watching a TV show, A Series of Unfortunate Events, to Patrick?
Oh my god, that was the most
Yeah.
unfortunate event I've ever seen.
Great.
Wow. Wow.
I did it. I quit.
Yeah. So it's good. I mean, it's one of those things where the season finale and like the beginning of each season is kind of very emotional, and like you should know what's going on, but like all the middle episodes when they deal with kind of like a new monster or a new creature, like anybody can watch those, and I think it makes for pretty entertaining kind of television in that sense. And they've gone through so many different monsters and myths and everything you can imagine they've done, and it keeps expanding, and it's really cool. So that's my pick, I think, for my guilty pleasure.
Did they do Medusa?
I want to say they've done something similar. That might have been the episode where they had
the Medusa head.
the Medusa that like turned people to stone. I don't remember.
I don't know why, but I've had like this sudden fascination with like Medusa. I don't know where it came from.
We can go to Six Flags if you want. We can go.
Oh, dude, that is a good ride though.
It is.
I like that ride. It's probably the best ride that they have there.
It's called Marine World, Ryan.
Brian, get with the times. Stop living in the past. Okay.
Discovery Kingdom. Jeez. But yeah. So that would be my pick.
Guys, before we go, what have you guys been watching? Anything new? Ryan?
I recently got back into watching The Office, but I think I'm gonna stop myself right now before I get too into it, because as soon as I watch like the first half season, I'm committed for the whole 9 seasons, and I don't have time for that guy. Like you, I got a bunch of video games to play still. But I think the other show that I just finished,
Uncharted 4,
right? Oh god. And that's an excited. Oh god, not a
Oh god, I don't want to play this amazing video game.
No, although I did just finish watching Schitt's Creek. Are you guys familiar with that?
What is it?
Schitt's Creek.
I've not watched it.
It's spelled CHITTS.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's about this rich, bougie, stuck-up New York family who's
Bad and
like
bougie?
investor, or they're like business person who like handles all of their investments and stuff. Just goes AWOL and steals all their money, basically. So, because the government was kind of finding out that he was doing illegal stuff, so he split with all the money and then left them with the responsibility of paying down all the money that they owed. So they repossessed like their everything. So they were left with a town that they bought as a joke called Schitt's Creek. So they bought this town as a joke because they're so wealthy, and now they're forced to live in it because it's the only thing that they have. Or the judge allowed them to keep it in a kind of twist of irony. So now they have to get along with the townsfolk. And there's 2 seasons. I was watching it on Amazon Prime Video, and it halfway through the 2nd season, it started telling me that I needed to like rent it or something. I'm like, that's stupid. And so because I literally signed up for Prime.
It with your Amazon Prime.
I signed up for Prime so I could watch it. And then they kind of said, just kidding. And I was like, okay. So it's on Netflix as well. It's a good show. Okay. I really like it. It's funny. It's different. So I'd recommend that to you guys.
That's cool. For me, I've tried a couple new shows like you mentioned before. So when you guys were talking about a series of unfortunate events, like I was like, this sounds interesting. Like they seem like they really like it. You know, to my best friends talking about it, I must like it. Me and my fiance were watching it, and we're watching it. We got
trying to like it.
We got to the point where we moved the cursor on our laptop to see how much time we had left in the first episode, and it was like, you have 18 minutes left, and I just paused it, and like we sat there for like a good 30 seconds until she turned to me and she was like, did you enjoy any of that? And I was like, no, can we watch something else, please? And it was totally on us. We're like, let's try this out. But yeah, try that. Sorry, not for me. There are things I like about it, but it's not my it's not my cup of tea. Also tried the first episode of Black Mirror. Finally got past the season 3. I went back in time.
Nice.
That first episode's very weird.
It's a weird pilot.
It did not remind me anything of like Twilight Zone. It just
nope.
It was weird, but it is very cool premise. Cool, using cool loosely. Loosely is also
that's not the way
a weird word to use for this, to describe this certain episode, but I'm gonna try episode 2 soon. Got Marisha hooked on that. So I think she started episode 2 without me. But one that I'm super proud of, I finished It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the season that just came out on Netflix. So it was the past season.
Right.
I did that in like 2 days because I love that show so much.
Super good.
And that's the one show that like really pulled me away from One Punch Man. Again, I'm watching it again. I got up to that Moomin Rider episode, the Sea King. Oh, so good. And I got my brother into Young Justice. I think I mentioned it last week. And he's been texting me like every other day, just telling me about the episodes and
oh god, so good.
Like he's into season 2, and then I woke up to a text this morning that he sent like at 1 a.m. He was like, "Where's season 3, bro?" And I was like, "Dude, you're telling me."
Yeah.
So I'm really, really excited for season 3 of that. But yeah. What about you, Brian?
Yeah, I finally we kind of talked about series of unfortunate events. I was taking my sweet time with it. I know Ryan knows, and we all talked about it a couple weeks ago. But I was reading the books along with every 2 episodes. So every 2 episodes covered what, one of the books were. Because they had part 1, part 2 for 4 books. And so last week I finally finished it. It was a slow process, but I really did, like doing it. It was really fun getting to see kind of some of the differences and just how close they kept to the original script, and it was really cool. But beyond that, I've kind of started getting back into I guess the new season. They kind of came back with the Grimm. I believe it's season. It's either season 5 or I think it's season 5, the final season. And great show. One of those things where it's like you got to get past the weird CG and it's like first season, but then once it like picks up and they get a bigger budget, like it gets really good, and they start investing more into like masks and makeup work, and that looks so much better.
Oh, I just realized that when we were talking about Supernatural, I was thinking of Grimm.
The whole time?
The whole time.
What?
I don't even know what Supernatural is now.
Grimm? Wait,
Grimm is the guy with the dark hair, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking of Grimm the entire time.
Well, now we got him hooked. Supernatural.
I don't know what Supernatural is.
I think everybody else was thinking the same thing. Supernatural's got the two brothers. But, anyways. But yeah, Grimm, it's like doing a really good job of doing their final season. Like, I really like where they've gone with the characters, and it's a real treat to be able to pick up and watch it again. And Hulu has it, the latest, I think, 5 episodes. So that's what I've been watching currently. Well, that's all we have for What's On. When we come back, we'll head right into our movie segment, Keeping It Real.
All right, guys, welcome back to What Is Podcast. Right now, we're in our movie segment, Keeping It Real. No real news. I haven't picked up on anything for the movie world. I'm sure there's a lot going on.
Sure.
But that's why there's other sites and stuff like that. We're more of a topical show. And speaking of topics, I want you guys to name your top 3 funny movies.
Ooh.
Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go first to someone. That was rough. I think we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, like having to narrow the choice down to 3, I think was difficult for all of us, especially when you start hearing some of the other, person's picks. You're like, damn, like it brings up all these memories of other things that you hadn't thought about. But, after much, thinking and kind of debate, I think my top 3, in no real order in terms of which one's best, but just the ones I really like, would have to be Dumb and Dumber, 40-Year-Old Virgin, and I think I'm going to have to go with Zoolander for the last one. And the reason I picked that is because all 3 of those choices are based on the fact that a lot of the humor and like quotes and lines that we would say as kids came from me and my family and friends watching that movie. Those are all really good quotable comedy films.
For like the longest time, you kept quoting the end of Dumb and Dumber. When he gets his bulletproof vest, and he was like, "What if she shot you in the face?"
Just dramatic, like pause.
Yeah, for the longest time, because I didn't end up watching it till like 3 years ago.
Wow.
It was a movie that Brian got it for me for my birthday, and that was like when I was like 19.
Yeah, it was.
But we didn't watch it till like 2 years later. But he always quoted that, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's a really silly film. I'm assuming, I don't know if
and it still holds up, actually.
Yeah.
Because I watched it, like I said, I watched it for the first time, and I was dying laughing. Mm-hmm. Like, my favorite scene is the hot tub scene.
Oh,
where he's like listening on the other couple, like, doing it. Mm-hmm. And then he sits back down in the hot tub, just goes, "Man, if you had huge knockers, I'd do you so hard."
Yeah, they're in like a heart-shaped tub or something.
He's like, "No, you wouldn't." Yeah, I would, and you'd like it.
Yeah, just the like kind of interplay and just banter and humor between the two actors are just phenomenal. I think it wasn't rated super highly, as like most comedies aren't. I think on like critic reviews, but it was just one of those things where it was just so funny.
For like comedies, I don't tend to like really think about
your
like
ratings.
The critical.
Yeah, like how.
Yeah, because I feel like
humor. Then
it's humor. It's like some things are funny to some people and some things aren't.
Exactly.
But
I would agree. I think that's you can't base if you want to see a comedy based on like a critic review, it's just not the same.
yeah.
But and then and then the same thing for 40-Year-Old Virgin. Like that,
Oh my
that had
God.
so many
Such a
amazing
good
lines,
movie.
so many amazing scenes. I mean, that was probably the first time I was really introduced to Kevin Hart. I think that was the same for a lot of us. And
Other people are probably like Soul Plane.
yeah, like come on guys, where have you been? It's like no, I didn't watch Soul Plane.
Yep.
I feel like in general, a lot of our picks tend to be on the more modern-ish side.
Right.
Not necessarily the older classics. But I think that's just kind of our age too.
Yeah. So phenomenal scene, and it just. I think I've probably recited Kevin Hart's lines when he's talking to Andy and everybody.
This your boy?
It's your boy?
Yeah, that's my boy. We'll both mash you. What?
We rep the same smart tech. We'll match you.
Oh, no. I served him, so he knows that Jay runs this bitch, and he about to bounce.
He's about to bounce.
This your boy right here? Yeah, that's my boy.
You
just got
fucked up with him. And his like hand gestures that he does, like no one can quite like replicate how Kevin Hart does it. He just kind of like does some funny things with his hands, and it just
the amount of times
hilarious.
we've referenced just that single part,
that one scene.
And I love that movie so much.
It's great.
And this whole speed dating part,
my God,
where
Gina.
He's like, oh, it's Gina, what's up?
What's up?
Trying to get back up on that pogo stick, throw a little rouge on you.
Yeah.
Tuck your sack back. You game? No.
God, I love this.
I need to watch it again.
I know, right? I love the scene where they're all playing poker in the store, or is it his garage where they're playing? The store, right?
Goodness.
And
they're at the store.
Yeah,
late
and then
at night.
Steve Carell's like trying to do the whole like dude talk stuff, and he's just like they're all talking about all these like sexual experiences they've had, and he's like, yeah, it's like when you grab a woman's breast, it just feels like
two big sand
bag of sand, and everyone just kind of pauses and looks at him like,
bag of sands. Dude, are you gay?
Yeah, what are you gay?
So
he's like,
good.
you're gay. And the part where he's like after that, he's like crying and like riding his bike back home, just like panicking. he's trying to come up with like comebacks for the next day he sees them. Like I love that. He just one of my favorites was, I may be a virgin, but I can still fuck you up. What a great movie. That's one of the most quotable movies.
It is wonderful.
Yeah.
So I promise we won't recite or we won't play you back every single film we choose
You
here. But
damn near do the whole film for you right now.
We just pretty much did.
It's so good. And what is his name? Jonah Hill was in that movie for like a really quick,
lot of great guests.
Minute.
Yeah, a lot of really awesome guest appearances, people showing up. Phenomenal. And then same thing for Zoolander. I mean, it just has some of the stupidest lines ever, and it's a kind of a silly movie, but I mean, assassin fashion models, like, just a great idea.
Will Ferrell in that movie is hilarious. Mugatu. I am a hot little potato right now. And like his assistant is just like freaking out.
Constantly getting
his dog with a matching hairstyle.
Yeah. And then
Happy.
Yeah, Hansel, all the characters were phenomenal, and I still love the "you Googleizer" line, and what else he also says stuff about. I always reference, who's winning the match pop for any kind of like major sports event?
Any major sports event.
That's just make it sound really stupid.
Oh yeah, every time I clear my throat, I always do that.
Yeah, the cough.
Patrick, I actually think that movie was a defining moment in our friendship because I started I started coughing like that after seeing that movie, just like the whole. And I remember in history class one day, way back in the day, it was dead silent. Patrick's wheels are grinding slowly, and on
that slow grind, always slow.
And all of a sudden, I have to cough, and for some reason, it comes out as a. And no one looks up except for Patrick. Patrick's eyes just slowly but very steadily come up to me and just look at me like, "What the hell are you doing? Like what? Why?" Just like this deep like misunderstanding of like why I just did that to him. I feel like you felt like I was like personally like attacking you.
Yeah, like that was catered towards me. Yeah, like, you know what? This guy. Yeah. Definitely. That was a huge defining moment in our friendship.
Absolutely.
Because, like, I was right there on that same level with you.
Yeah, that's exactly things like that make those picks like perfect for me. But yeah, what about you two? What are your guys' picks?
You go ahead, Ryan.
I'm gonna stick with the Will Ferrell praise here, and I'm gonna go with Anchorman, Hot Rod, and Step Brothers as my picks.
Nice.
I just gotta say, Will Ferrell in general, I would say most things that he touches when it comes to comedy are really good. I gotta say the antithesis of that was, what was it? Him and Kevin Hart. I was so excited for that movie. What was it called?
Yeah.
What was it?
The prison movie?
Yeah, like Get Short or like, what was it? I don't remember.
Get Hard.
Get Hard.
Get Hard. Yeah, and he raises.
I love both of them so much, and we were just saying such good things about Kevin Hart and 40-Year-Old Virgin and Will Ferrell and
right.
Zoolander, but that was just, I don't know what was up with the writing or what it was, but
synergy was bad. Something. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, just the gem that is Anchorman. Mm-hmm. I think people can. Those three movies for me are my personally most quoted movies, you know. And Anchorman, his character was just so obscene, and it I don't think that movie could happen at any other time period than when it did, you know, like kind of the older, because, you know, it was just it kind of allowed for this playful sexism, and just like total ridiculousness that was Ron Burgundy. And, you know, it was just like, because of it, you know, the time period that I was saying, it was just like, oh, whatever, she's just a woman, you know, and obviously right. it, you know, it's making a statement at the same time, but it was just so, it just made his character just freaking ridiculous. And that is what makes it probably the quintessential, you know,
plus
Will Ferrell.
That fight scene between all like the newscasters, and you have Steve Carell just running around with a grenade, screaming.
Yeah, and Brick, I saw you kill a guy. Did you kill a guy? Yes, I did.
Yeah, you should probably lay low for a little bit.
Yeah, he had a trident and everything.
The takeaway from all this is that like Steve Carell and Will Ferrell, just great comedy actors.
Oh, absolutely,
yeah, they're hilarious.
I mean, The Office is probably my favorite like TV show ever. Yes. So, you know, like I was saying, it's a dangerous thing for me to even like touch that show. But yeah, Anchorman, you know, it's so my sense of humor tends to like err in the side of just absolute ridiculousness, and there's just so many moments. I mean, the story is definitely cohesive enough, but it also has this beautiful randomness to it, where it's just like he goes on a date with Veronica Corningstone, and now he's playing jazz flute, like in a random like you know, bathroom stall. He's like sliding under and like kicking all the glasses over on the bar and on the table and stuff, and it's just so ridiculous. And she falls for it, and that, I mean, she loves him after that. And, you know, obviously the classic, oh yes, San Diego, it's German for a whale's vagina. San Diego.
I thought it was for Saint Diego.
No.
No, that's wrong.
Well, maybe.
I like how he reads everything on the prompter.
Oh,
exactly. No matter what you put up.
Good night, San Diego.
Damn it! And go fuck yourself. Oh, I love when he's like warming up to like, the Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Great Odin's Raven, and he's just saying this. It's just the movie is, I think, a real testament to his ability to improv, and I think Step Brothers is in that same vein where you're just like the stuff. I mean, the trailers were very different from the actual movie because they had so many good takes of stuff that he did. And again, I'm gonna, you know, Step Brothers, I'm gonna transition to that, was another probably beautiful. It's just one of the best Will Ferrell movies out there. Him and John C. Reilly. I mean, him and John C. Reilly in Talladega Nights is amazing, but I think Step Brothers was their, like, chemistry wise was their pinnacle working together. It was just so freaking good when they're trying to, like, you know, bury each other in the middle of the night. And, you know, probably the most quotable thing from that whole movie is when, you know, they become best friends, even though after they've just been working so hard to, like, you know, totally ruin each other's days.
Yeah.
It's like, did we just become best friends? Yep. You want to do basketball? You want to do karate in the garage? Yep. Like that whole thing. It's just so, again.
Favorite dinosaur on 3.
Yeah. And just seeing, you know, Will Ferrell is this man-child, you know, this 30, 40-year-old something, which...
he does that well.
Yes. And...
he does that really well.
Yes.
Elf.
And he's just so... Yes. Yeah. Another great movie of his. But yeah, Step Brothers was just so ridiculous, and just the family aspect of it was really well done. They kind of took a dysfunctional family and then just took it to the took it up to 11, you know, just by
I think I'm gonna throw up.
and what's his name? His douchey brother. God, what's the actor's name?
Oh my god, yeah, you play, yeah.
Did the whole scene where they're trying to like sing in the car and he's just like reeling on people. He's just like, come on, I didn't pay for those singing lessons for nothing. Like, come on, you know.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Still messing with
Most of the characters,
where he's like,
most of the characters are very well fleshed out to the point where you liked them, but you were also really annoyed by them. But I think that was their beauty. And then finally, I got to say, Hot Rod. It's not Will Ferrell, but you know, Andy Samberg. This was, I think, his best movie. I don't think he's done a movie better since Hot Rod.
Have you seen Popstar? Apparently, that one was like really good.
I saw Popstar. It was good. I didn't like it as much as Hot Rod. Hot Rod has a special place in my heart. I think Hot Rod was one of the movies that kind of defined my sense of humor by just being. I think it informed my movie making a lot too. I know, Brian, when we were younger, we even like tried to make a Hot Rod parody, like spin-off almost. I mean, that's how much I love the movie.
Cash in on that.
Yeah, spiritual, creation.
Yeah,
spiritual Rod.
Yeah, our version was instead of a stuntman, he wanted to be a spelling bee contestant, and obviously it didn't really have a budget, so it wasn't very good. But
it was 40 minutes long.
Do we have footage of that?
Uh-huh.
We could get it.
Yeah,
easy.
That sounds awesome.
I'll,
we should put that up sometime.
Yeah, I'll put it up somewhere, and we can put the link up on our social media or something. But yeah, it's just super ridiculous. I mean, yeah, like you're saying, Brian, the whole spiritual animal thing. Plus, Isla Fisher is a freaking babe in that movie. But I
love the Asian guy that dances and throws papers. Like after you showed me that movie, or I don't know who. I think you showed me that movie. I went on like a skiing or like a snow trip with like my family, and that's literally all I did for like 3 days straight.
With snow,
like, we would go onto the mountains.
You would find paper.
Yeah, I'd pick up a handful of snow, and someone would ask me a question. I wouldn't even answer. I just throw snow up in the air and then start doing that little dance and just smiling away.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, just Hot Rod was just again extremely quotable. All the characters had really good lines, all very well written, and you know, like, I've been drinking green tea all goddamn day. This is my hat. It's totally my hat. This is my hat now. You can make me go to church. I go to church every goddamn Sunday. You bring demons out of me. Like, just
that was phenomenal. Oh my God, that was amazing.
It's one of his favorite movies.
Yeah, I mean, just I love that movie. So that's probably my top three. Very Will Ferrell heavy, but you know, got to give some Andy Samberg love there because Hot Rod again for me was kind of a game changer.
Hometown hero. He's from SF, right? He's from the Bay Area, I think. Andy Samberg.
I never knew that. Yeah.
I think that's what I heard.
Huh? Yeah, I haven't heard that either. But
yeah, I guess.
So it's probably wrong.
Oh crap! Yeah. So. So for my top three, it's an ever-changing like top three. I'm sure if you asked me on a different day, I would pick.
Tonight.
Yeah, or you asked me like 10 minutes later, I would not remember my list. But so I wrote down the first three that popped into mind were Team America, The Other Guys, and Kung Pao.
Yes.
Yeah. So Team America, I think a common theme between all like comedic movies that are personal favorites to everyone is quotability. I think we've talked about just talking about everyone else's movies. We all quoted at least one thing, and Team America is no stranger to that. There's so many parts in that movie, albeit racist and just downright outlandish. That movie is hilarious. And the thing is, for me, I am terrified of like puppets. It's always been like a weird fear of mine. But the fact that like this is one of my favorite movies just shows how hilarious this thing is.
Well, I mean, the puppets are really creepy in that movie, to be fair.
Yeah.
You know, after I think it's the thing for me is like the lines on like the jaw.
Yeah.
Like that freaks me out a little bit. But like the puppets are so well done and they look exactly like the actors. It's hilarious. Plus you get the writers of South Park, you know, Matt Stone and Trey Parker. The music, they
So good.
I kid you not, I have the whole soundtrack on my iPod because the music is so good. They made a country song. I don't even like country. It's my favorite country song in the world. What would you do if you were asked to give up your dreams for freedom? It's so good, man. They have a song called crap. It's Pearl Harbor Sucks and I Miss You. Freedom Isn't Free. It was the one I just sang. They had Kim Jong-il, So Ronry.
Oh my gosh, it's like all-star.
There's all
music combo.
and the like Matt Stone and Trey Parker, they always do. I mean, since South Park, you've seen their horrible imitations of people, and it's awesome. Like it's just so much funnier. The main bad guy, like it's so racist.
Yeah.
Such a good movie. I wish I would have watched that in films when I was a kid,
Mm.
but I was sadly too young. And
Yeah, unfortunately.
but yeah, I could quote that movie all day. It's so good. I'll sing the songs all day too. The Other Guys, although it's not very quotable for me, I know when I watch that movie, like I laugh my ass off. It's so funny. Just when you first pop in the film and you see like The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson being like complete action movie stars and just being like Samuel L. Jackson crashes in his car into a bus and they somehow are still applauded when they didn't even, I don't even think they got the guys. But, and then they go into their next mission and they're just standing over the building seeing the people get away. And then they just turn to each other and like, you thinking what I'm thinking? Aim for the bushes. And then you hear the do-do-do-do-do-do-do. There goes my hero. They just jump off the building and in slow-mo, they just land on the concrete and die. I was just like, what movie is this? I have no idea. And then it slowly unfolds into this amazing, hilarious movie where Mark Wahlberg, which I think this is his funniest, to me, it's like his best movie. He plays this super serious character in a comedy, you know? And like the funny thing about him is like he keeps making fun of all these people growing up throughout his life and turning like, so like he's like at a ballet studio and he goes up to meet his girlfriend and he's like, so this is what you're doing? You're shaking it in the club for dollar bills? And she's like a super high class ballet studio. And he's like, oh, what? You think I can't do this stuff? And he just like pirouettes and does like this amazing like dance move. And she's like, oh my God, Terry, that was amazing. He's like, yeah, well, I used to make fun of these fairies growing up. And that's how I learned how to do this. And then Will Ferrell. What a huge part this guy had. His wife is Ava Mendes. Turns out his backstory was he used to be a pimp in college.
Whoa.
He used to pimp out college girls, and his like alter ego was a pimp named Gator. And he was like, one day I looked in the mirror, I didn't like what I was seeing, and he has like this gold tooth, and he's dragging like a knife across his face slowly. And like the whole thing with Ava Mendes, where he's like, Mark Wahlberg's like, dude, who is that? He's like, oh, who? My wife? He's like, no, seriously, who is that? And he's just like, oh, please, she's cute at best. She's not very pretty. And yeah, that movie had me dying. Plus, you have Michael Keaton as like
The Batman.
as the Batman. He's like the manager of a Bed Bath and Beyond, and also that's his part-time job, as well as like the police chief.
Wow. And
And he just keeps quoting TLC songs. Like he's like, all right, I don't want you guys to be caught, all right? So just creep. And like, Chief, are you quoting TLC? I don't know what you're talking about. I just don't know what you're talking about. Oh man, so many good parts in that movie, like the whisper fight scene at the death of the two of The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. They have like this whole fight, like a whisper fight, when they're trying to figure out who the new badass police duo is gonna be, and then Michael Keaton breaks it up, like, "Shake your dicks. This pissing contest is over." It was like, what?
Gosh, who says that?
Yeah, such a good movie. And last but not least, I have Kung Pao.
Yeah.
And my specific reasoning for this, other than it being an immensely like quotable movie, especially like in our group, I was thinking more and more about it. It's genius. So you take these old kung fu movies that are already badly dubbed, and you just dub over them with crazy zany humor. Doesn't even have to make sense, but they weaved it together to make, I mean, not the most amazing storyline, but they make a storyline out of it. It involves like aliens and some sort of weird chosen one tonguey thing. And it's very cool because the director is the main character, and they green screen him into these old kung fu movies. And you know, I think whenever we all hang out, me, Brian, and Ryan, and our group of friends, at least one person will go, "Chosen one, wee 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 wee, I'm coming." And it's just like, it's hilarious. One of my favorite parts of that movie is you see the Chosen One. He's going to go fight like a whole bunch of people in like a grassy field, and then it zooms in on him, and then zooms in on one of the bad guys, and it just keeps going back and forth, zooming in on each other, and making like this blaring noise. Oh my god, yeah, that movie has some of like the best quotes too. Just like,
well, and it was such an original comedy too. I feel like something like that hadn't been done in a while. I mean, it's not necessarily like a brand new way of like making a comedy, you know, but it was done very well, and the writing was coherent enough, like you said, to make a story. But it was also
like, I remember showing that movie to a friend of mine, and like the part where the lady picks up a baby, which was the Chosen One, and she goes, "Oh, it's so cute," because after like picking it up on the floor, it was like already rolling down the hill, and she kisses him, and she's like, "Okay," and she rolls him back down the hill. Goodbye. It was like, oh my god, we're even missing so much. It's like, like random days, I'll just be like, "Banana na na Neo, banana na 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 Sporin," or Taco Bell, product placement at Taco Bell, enchilito, nacho burrito. And we are both ventriloquists.
So many memories are bringing back, like from just high school now. Like this is in middle school too, actually.
Yeah.
And or even like the subtle stuff, and I feel like this isn't even really a quotable thing, but just like the small stuff that they put in there when they just randomly put a butterfly in the scenes and they'd make the main bad guy joke, and I'm like,
that is hilarious. Oh, sorry. He like slowly sucks it up through his teeth. He's like, or like when Betty is like, he's just looking at pictures of tigers and birds. He's like, bird, birdie, tiger. And then you like talk to like one of his henchmen. He's like, "I am a magician. Your clothes are red." "Oh, very good, sir. Blue clothes." And like in the next scene, his clothes are like blue because of the horrible continuity from back then.
From the film.
Oh my god, yeah, that movie, hilarious. We go on and on quoting that. And I'm throwing an audible here. I have a couple honorable mentions. Just like I only have two. The Water Boy.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I don't know if I like it more than Happy Gilmore, but it's definitely more quotable for me.
Yeah.
It's like when they're having dinner with the coach and he's just like, "So I've never had a snake before. What was the best part?" Usually the knee." Like, what? And then Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Oh, nice.
John C. Reilly shows up a lot.
Watched that, but
That movie is hilarious. It's basically the whole story of Walk the Line, but with John C. Reilly and I think Jenna Fisher from The Office. It's hilarious, man. You never once pay for drugs. Not once. And he just goes like through this whole time period of like how he killed his brother by cutting him in half on accident. And like
That's how it just haunts him.
Yeah, it's just just how it haunts him. It's such a good movie. Do you guys have any honorable mentions right off the top of your head?
Yeah, all of the Simon Pegg and
The Cornetto trilogy.
The Cornetto trilogy, and Nick Frost. Like, all of those films are phenomenal. I would say Hangover, not part 2 and 3, just the first one, because I think the second two were not too phenomenal. Yeah, I think those would be my two off just the top of my head.
I gotta go with Borat, just because.
Oh my God, Borat!
Damn.
I wouldn't say it's the funniest movie of all time or my top 3, but it's definitely like
it's definitely worth a
so
mention.
memorable. It's like it's so gross, and Sacha Baron Cohen just like totally immerses himself into the character to the point where it's just ridiculous. I would say his other attempts at doing the same thing weren't as successful, but this is just so ridiculous, and it came right at a time, when people were, it came in 2006, so, it had been 5 years past 9/11, but there was still this, even today we see this fear of like foreign people, and Sacha Baron Cohen just took that idea and poked people. He poked the freaking bear. He just came in and made people so uncomfortable. It was just brilliant. Like he wanted to challenge people in a way that wasn't overtly like, oh, you think these people are bad, you don't even know them. He just he completely took it to the other end of it, became this like super weird Kazakhstani person, and just, when he starts, when he goes to the rodeo and
sings the Kazakhstan
oh my God,
national anthem.
And he literally has to leave, and he got arrested so many times. It was brilliant. It was just so good.
Like the end of that movie where he throws a bag over Pamela Anderson's head
did not
and tries
know.
to kidnap her.
She did not know that was happening, by the way. That was authentic. That was real.
What?
God. And then I would say the other honorable mention is there's a couple that I want to mention, but I'm going to keep it to one. I'm going to say Wayne's World, just because Wayne's World is just super
party on, Garth.
Super good. You got to love the characters, and it's a lot more lighthearted and less raunchy than a lot of other stuff that we were talking about, but
oh my God, now I'm thinking about freaking Michael Myers, and now I want to say Austin Powers.
I was going to mention Austin Powers too. Yeah.
Austin
there's so many good stuff. I'm going to say Wayne's World is my other honorable mention.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys, that's all we have for Keeping It Real. Let us know in the comments what your honorable mentions are, or what your top 3 funniest movies are. Like I said, that's it for Keeping It Real. Stay tuned for our last segment, Tech Nerdy to Me.
All right, guys, that's it for Keeping It Real. Now we're going to go to our last segment, Tech Nerdy to Me. Before we get into it, I wanted to let you guys know that I have big news. I have my drone on the way. It's coming.
Oh,
my camera drone, my DJI Mavic Pro is...
Does the Amazon drone drop that drone off?
I wish.
No, the drone, it's
wish.
teaching the other drone how to fly.
It's like,
you know what I mean?
It's like a baby. It's like a mama bird teaching its kid to fly. It just knocks it out of the nest. So I expect the delivery to be expedient and harsh.
Come from just baby egg or drone
it's gonna hover on top of my front doorstep and just drop it from 5 stories. Like, learn to fly, go, be free. So
this was totally worth $3,000.
Right. So yeah, next week I'm gonna do my first impressions in the Tech Nerdy to Me segment of the DJI Mavic Pro. Super excited. I've only heard good things about this. So unfortunately, it's raining this weekend, but I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna test this thing out because I just feel like I don't have a choice. It has to be done. So
You shoot some native SF stuff with that?
No, only because I don't know. Well, maybe, but I'm assuming the blades are going to be too loud, and we have to worry about the music recording as well. So, a very cool film tool. Not necessarily for my current project, I think, at the time, but I could be wrong. So we'll see. But yeah. So what I wanted to talk about in Tech Nerdy today was a huge oversight from my part when we did the CES review for 2017. I somehow there's so much stuff going at CES, I guess it's easy to miss, but I somehow missed my camera, my favorite toy, and my bread and butter has a big sister on the way.
Yeah, it totally doesn't help that we did an episode where you talk about how DSLR cameras like changed you.
Yeah, I know. It's a little embarrassing. It's a little embarrassing. But I saw that the news that it's going to be coming out, and then all of a sudden I saw these articles saying it was presented at CES 2017. I was like, wow, I'm a dummy. I'm a big old dum-dum.
How did I miss it? I mean, I totally saw it myself. Patrick, too. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. Thanks for helping me out, guys. Thanks.
You're welcome.
But yeah, so let me first start off by kind of reviewing the GH4 a little bit. The GH4 is the camera that I shoot everything with. It is so powerful, and it came out 3 years ago, I think, and there's lots of things that made me choose that camera over its competitors in the Sony bracket. Brian, earlier we were talking kind of about what makes this camera kind of like on a different level than other things, right? So I'm gonna kind of lay that out real quick. You know, I would say iPhones are kind of the camera that everyone uses to take photos and video. I would say above that you have DSLRs, you know, like Canon Rebel, TIs, whatever, or the step up would be kind of like Sony A7Ss and GH4s, and then you have like higher end Sony ENG, like people use these for like newscasting and stuff, and then you have like film stuff, which is like the Red cameras and the Black Magic cameras and stuff like that. So this is kind of upper middle rung. It's definitely meant to make video that you can sell to people. It's either an extreme hobbyist or it's a way of kind of doing business from a film perspective, because you know I make videos and will do like freelance video work and get paid to use this camera, and it holds up. It really does. I mean, this thing is gorgeous. I'm sure you've seen some of the stuff, either the native SF stuff that I've done, and it's really pretty, and it's such an unassuming camera. It looks just like a regular DSLR. So I mean, this thing is just so powerful. It shoots 4K, and it's like the first DSLR to shoot 4K, and it's what's considered a mirrorless micro four thirds camera. So mirrorless means that it doesn't have the mirror plate in the back turning the image over, but that's kind of an extra kind of step in the image processing that they've removed, and it makes the camera so much smaller and lighter. So
that's interesting.
When you take this camera that I'm so in love with and you give it an upgrade, of course it catches my attention. So I would say, first off, the key things that are being upgraded are the fact that it now can shoot 4K like it has before, but it's doubling the frame rate. It can shoot 50, 60 frames per second, and it can do so at a really, really high bit rate that is near movie quality. The 420 8-bit internally, and then full uncompressed information 422 10-bit if you get a separate recorder. But that's another huge investment. You know, it's like $1,000 extra external recorder. So if you're going to spend an extra $1,000 on this camera, you might as well, I don't know. I'm not sure that it just seems kind of, I don't know. It's a weird step, because the next step up in those red cameras that I was talking about, those Black Magic cameras, those are like $20,000 just for the body.
Holy shit!
And then look at that body. And then you start adding all these lenses and other pieces of gear, monitors, you know, microphone attachments, all this stuff, and it's like, you know, now a $60,000 to $100,000 investment, and that's how much these cameras that movie sets are using. I mean, they're crazy.
But does it drive me around places for
No.
60 grand?
Nope. Just films.
$60,000 to $100,000.
Yeah, so that's the step that you're making. So
That's like...
the fact that this thing can even shoot Ultra HD and is like not competing with those, but is like even close to the quality is pretty insane. Patrick, I threw a word earlier around to you, prosumer, and prosumer is right.
It just makes me laugh for some reason.
It sounds kind of goofy, but it's a real thing. I think with every hobby, you get like a level where you're really genuinely getting paid to do this kind of stuff. You work for a movie studio and you have a $100,000 camera, or you have a $2,000 camera. And
so just a little insight. Our setup for this show is not prosumer. Just by looking at Brian and Ryan, we are in a freezing garage.
I'm in a warm closet, so that's on you. I consider my warm closet prosumer.
Yeah, your setup is pretty nice though.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, so more of the upgrades from the GH4 to the GH5, not significant, but definitely worth looking at. I think I'm going to hold off investing my money until I kind of see some more of when it comes out in late March. But, again, 4K, way higher frames per second and uncompressed information as far as like color and just general information. And it can just do it can do 4K 30 frames uncompressed. So the 42210 at 400 megabits. So you can do it, but like it's only 24 frames. So it's still going to look really pretty because 24 frames can look really nice too because it can look very cinematic.
Yeah.
But that's if you want the crazy high 50, 60 frames per second that you see in the movies, you can get that in this camera. And they're doing software updates to make it more powerful.
I was going to say, I know not all of these features I remember reading will be available
not at launch.
It comes out, there's going to be firmware
so
updates.
In summer is when they're doing their first software update. And they've done this with the GH4. The GH4 at launch didn't have Vlog, and Vlog is basically the video version of RAW. Oh, so you get 12 stops of exposure flexibility if you shoot this way. So you really get all the information if you shoot with Vlog. Vlog has a $100 software update that you can buy for the GH4.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Pay for firmware updates.
Yes, but it makes your camera so much more flexible. I haven't done it personally yet. It was something I definitely intended to do, but I don't necessarily need that much flexibility all the time, So I try to shoot when I can in a way that's suitable, so I don't have to fix it in post. But it definitely is a great tool to have for sure. Some of the other upgrades as well, not just from recording aspect, but the frame rate related upgrades to the GH5 is the fact that you now have a much larger megapixel sensor. It's still micro four thirds, but you're going from 60 megapixel to 20 megapixel, which is a great improvement. And they're also allowing for the camera to no longer crop in micro four thirds. So you get the full brunt of the sensor. You're not cropping for it anymore, which is, again, going to allow for a lot more information to be taken into the sensor. They're also doing a really cool dual stabilization system within the camera, not only on the lens, but what's called a sensor shift image stabilization. So the actual sensor will move around inside the body. So it'll compensate for any movements. The ISO range is much better from 200 to 6400 from now, from 100 to 25,000. So that's a great improvement considering the GH4's biggest weakness, I think, is its low light shooting is awful. And that's what made the Sony A7S, its competitor, much more appealing to a lot of people because it's incredible low light shooting.
So that's what ISOs deal with.
ISIS?
Low light. That's what ISIS does, right? Low light?
Yeah, ISO in a camera is just like one other factor allowing you to manipulate the sensor information, allowing more light in without messing with shutter speed and or f-stop. But yeah, it's a great tool to have if you've already maxed out your f-stop to have the aperture fully open, and if you have your shutter speed at, well, for filming it doesn't matter, but well, yeah, I guess it does. If you have your shutter speed at a lower rate to let more light in, but you can't go any lower because you'll be below the frame rates, anything like that. So it's another great tool to give you more with your camera. So they're doing a great job there of upping it. Still not as impressive as the A7S. The A7S just absolutely dominates. The A7S II ISO range is just bonkers at 400,000. I mean, this thing is just ridiculous.
Wait, 400,000
ISO. You can basically
9,000.
shoot.
Compared to what you just said,
Yes.
25.
Well, think about it this way. My camera shoots at 6,500 ISO, 6,400. And the A7S Mark II shoots 4K, and it has a 400,000 ISO range. This thing is just, I mean, the camera.
I mean, it's like almost hard to comprehend.
You'll watch some videos of it shooting at nighttime, and the ISO range is so impressive that you can make it look like it's daytime.
I think you
Yes.
showed me a clip of it. It was like somebody in like some, like it wasn't what was it? It was some night event. It felt like it was in some like southern country, southern state. Sorry, and it was like super dark, and there was a lot of dancing and music going on. It literally looked like you would see it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just incredible. It's probably even more powerful than the human eyes.
If your
Like
eyes
the
were
human.
closed.
Damn.
No, I honestly think the 400,000 ISO is allows more light in than just the human eye. Although, it definitely
good.
is closer to what the GH4 can. It's way closer than what the GH4 can do. But GH5 is getting there with its pretty decently improved ISO range. It also has this new feature where it does smart
full times.
autofocus. So it already does smart autofocus, but what you can do is like set it and forget it. Like you tell it to track something, and it'll just like constantly focus on that. I don't like to use autofocus, but this seems like a more sophisticated thing, so I'd have to get my hands on this to really tell you how good it is. It also has a dual SD slot. With this much higher information and recording rates, you're definitely going to want something that has dual SD slots. That's really nice. So you can, I don't know what the max limit you can do right now is. I know.
I'm assuming SDXC,
Absolutely.
right, for 2 terabytes.
Well,
hopefully. Yeah.
No idea
well,
what you're gonna say.
I'm speaking another language.
well,
Sounds
The
like
Mavic-
math with a whole bunch
right?
of letters and numbers.
well, the Mavic
Calculator.
can only take up a 64 gig micro SD. So I'm assuming that the
Whoa.
GH4 might have a limit to or the GH5 might have a
Yeah.
limit to card reading. Maybe it maxes out at like, 526 or whatever it is, right? But if you get 2 of those, you get a terabyte of filming, and that allows you to pretty much shoot the highest quality with no breaks at all. So which is really nice. The one downside.
For about
The one
5
downside
minutes.
is it's a $200 or $600 difference. The GH5
Yeah, how much is this
body
costing
just
us?
by itself is $2,000.
Whoa.
No
You get
lens.
no lens.
But I've already invested into the Lumix market, so all my lenses will work. And then again, the beautiful thing about the Micro Four Thirds is that you can adapt, or the beautiful thing about mirrorless cameras is you can adapt any lens you want. You just get a simple adapter. Or you can get a smart adapter, and you can if you have a preference over certain lenses or glass or manufacturer, you can use it with this camera. You don't have to have a Canon or a Nikon or whatever. You can put anything on this, which is super nice. The GH5 does beat out its competitor, the A7S Mark II, by having about 30 more. It's got 80 lenses or so that you can adapt to it, whereas the Mark II only has about 50. Again,
Still a lot.
really excited for this camera. It doesn't quite seem to me that it beats the A7S Mark II, even though this camera came out 2 years ago now, in 2015.
Wow.
The GH5 has a lot of improvements, but the sensor for the Mark II is a full frame, so you're getting so much more information. You're getting so much more light, which is a part of the reason its ISO range is so crazy. It's lighter. So part of me wants to, if I'm going to invest in another like prosumer DSLR, maybe look at the A7S Mark II or wait for the Mark III. Again,
yeah, just kind of have like a best.
Although buying a GH5 would allow me to cross shoot and have two cameras in the same family, so I could do a lot. I could basically have, I could do a lot more shooting wise if I have two Lumixes versus.
I mean, but that all depends on how much film you have, right?
Oh, he's got enough.
Yes, the amount of film.
He's like, yes, shut up.
No, it's a very good knock at Sony's A7S Mark II. It seems when you put the numbers next to each other that the A7S Mark II wins out just because its sensor is so much bigger. But apparently with the higher megapixel, even with the smaller frame, you get a higher resolution, which, again, I don't know how the math on that works and what that really actually means. Like, I'm looking at this camera comparison site right now. It says the max resolution is 5184 by 3888, whereas the full frame Sony is 4240 2832. And that might just be pictures because the GH5 can do 6K photography. So maybe that's what it's referring to more so.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm hoping that I'd be interested to see if Sony puts out something soon to kind of like keep up, because the technology keeps getting better and these cameras are just so small and light, and that's what makes them so good with my gimbal. They can, these really small tiny cameras can sit in these stabilizers, and now with the extra added body stabilization, they're going to be smoother than ever, and you're going to get like the best shots. And now the GH family can now kind of compete in the ISO range with a lot of other cool, awesome recording features. Also, one thing I almost forgot, the new GH5 has a variable frame rate of up to 180 frames per second. That means like ultra, mega, super, ultra slow-mo. 180 frames per second.
Shit.
That's like getting close to, you're watching Mythbusters and they're shooting a apple with like a flaming bow and arrow or something.
With another apple.
And you can capture that kind of stuff, because you can shoot 96 frames currently on the GH4 and it looks really cool, but you can't get like, I don't know, the slow-mo that you would need for like science stuff, like really crazy science. So it's an interesting feature. I don't know how much I'd use 180 frames, but it'd be pretty cool. It's a type of frame rate that you could get, or you could film a drop of water and get a really pretty shot kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to stop talking your guys' ear off about nerdy camera stuff. Do you guys have any questions? Or, I mean, I know, Patrick, it's not really your thing, but does this...
Yeah, so you're talking about the new stabilization. So it already has the optical image stabilization, and it already has electronic image stabilization. So
it's a second. It has a, well, yeah. So the lens has a stabilization on it, and then yes, there's a software stabilization. But this is I guess a third thing where the sensor itself actually moves around, like in the body, and will compensate for movement, basically. So it's pretty crazy. The A7S already does it, but now this is a step up for the GH4 to the GH5, because it's been about 3 years since they've done an iteration. So there's a lot of stuff that's kind of standard nowadays for this type of class of camera that it's like catching up to and trying to exceed in certain ways. But this stabilization, like if you have those three combined with the gimbal, you shouldn't have any problem with any kind of shaking when filming.
Can handle most anything. Yeah.
So basically, he's saying for the people who like point and shoot cameras, this is the one for you.
Just only 2,000.
Yeah. Again, this is a camera definitely mostly
Costco
geared
has it. Get on it.
at prosumer filmmakers. The GH4 again was the first camera to offer 4K filming for super cheap. The original camera was about $1,400, and to get movie quality resolution in your hands was just insane. And now there's so many things that it obviously was so successful that there's a lot of people that have invested money into this market, like Sony, and so it's definitely there's definitely a market for it. myself included, but there's a lot of people who, who are looking to do small production stuff that can really benefit from having this upgrade on this family, on the GH series.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 4 of What Is Podcast, the show where every week 3 best friends and you come together to talk games, shows, movies, and tech. The show will post every Tuesday by 11 a.m. for you to download from Podomatic.com. All you gotta do is search for What Is Podcast and you get our episodes there. Of course, I'll still put up the YouTube version and throw that puppy on our Facebook page as well. Like the episode, subscribe to the channel, share it with friends, and don't forget, if you want to be part of the show, you can leave your comments on our Facebook page. You can follow me on YouTube and Twitch.tv at my channel, Krabby Patty, KRAB_B_PATTY. Brian has no time for you, so he doesn't want to meet you or talk to you.
That's right.
Ryan, how about you?
Follow me on my Instagram, RMXShaft, or my other project, Native SF, with 2 A's on Instagram. We're going to be launching the site, I think, hopefully by the end of the month. Someone's kind of squatting on our domain name that we were looking for, and she's not getting back to me at all. So their grace period ends at the end of the month, so I'm hoping that we can put all our stuff on nativesf.com. So that's a project I'm really passionate about as well. So definitely check out all the stuff for your latest in local music.
Cool. Definitely support that. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for another wonderful episode of What Is Podcast. We hope to see you guys next time.